Welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because, well, we are diving into a profound, often completely invisible dynamic that touches almost every single family. We're going to talk about a hidden struggle, the quiet, suffocating pressure felt by kids who seem to literally have it all, and the deep, well-intentioned exhaustion of parents who just give everything they have. If you've ever felt that heavy, unspoken weight of expectations, or if you're a parent scratching your head wondering why your massive sacrifices aren't yielding the results you hope for, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to break down the actual mechanical forces behind this whole dynamic.
Now, it's honestly one of the greatest mysteries of modern parenting. Why is it that kids from affluent families, or maybe only children who are the absolute center of their parents' universe, so often fail to launch? I mean, they get the best education, endless financial backing, fierce emotional support. They literally have everything handed to them. Yet, so many of them just end up wandering aimlessly. They can't seem to take that decisive step forward into their own lives. We're usually pretty quick to judge them, right? We call them ungrateful or lazy. But as you'll see, the reality is a lot more compassionate, and it actually has nothing to do with a lack of drive.
So consider the stark contrast we see all the time. On one hand, you have parents pouring their absolute all, their time, their use, and frankly, a jaw-dropping amount of money into their kid. It's relentless, devoted support. But then, instead of this high-flying, ultra-successful young adult popping out the other side, what do we get? We often see this totally unexplained drop in grades, a sudden loss of motivation, just deep, paralyzing lethargy. The child basically just shuts down. Okay, let's really dive into this. To understand this paradox, we have to look past the warm fuzzies of love and examine the invisible root cause at play here. To make sense of this, we need to completely shift our paradigm. We're going to look at parental support mechanically, through a concept we'll call the law of energy mass. This is a universal principle that says any energy you receive, whether it's money, time, or emotional support, it actually has a specific mass, a literal weight. In the universe, well, it requires a transaction. If you consume a certain mass of energy, let's say 70%, you absolutely must return 70% in value. By framing it this way, we take personal guilt totally out of the equation. The child isn't broken. They are just pinned down by the sheer mass of the unreturned energy they've consumed. Let's break down the mechanics of this law with the cycle of burden. Step 1. The cycle kicks off when the child receives all this massive energy and support. Step 2. Expectations naturally form. And I really want to stress that word, naturally. Look, when a parent pours their life, their youth, their passion into a child, it's practically a cosmic impossibility for them not to develop a psychological expectation of a return on that massive investment. They might never say it out loud, but trust me, the energy is there. Which leads us to step 3. A debt is created that absolutely must be repaid. The child intuitively feels this massive ledger balancing act hovering over them every single day.
And this brilliantly illustrates what it sounds like in the real world. How many times have we heard a parent sigh and say something like, he's smart, he's got a great heart, but lately, things just aren't working out. This right here is the exact symptom of a kid being crushed by the invisible weight of those natural expectations. Because they don't know how to repay this massive energetic debt back to their parents, they freeze up. They become completely paralyzed. They literally cannot see the future. Their energy turns inward, they get stuck, and their forward momentum in life just grinds to a total halt.
Scaling it up, the universal law of exchange.
This dynamic actually scales all the way up to geopolitics. Think about developing nations receiving massive foreign aid after World War II. When a developing nation receives heavy financial support from another country, a profound debt is formed. If time passes and that energy isn't repaid, the giving nation naturally starts exerting trade pressure, demanding asymmetrical agreements or even threatening conflict to get their return. Now, bring that exact same math right back to the living room, it perfectly mirrors the home dynamic. A child receives massive parental support. If they don't repay it, they face immense invisible psychological pressure from the parents, leading to total stagnation. This is precisely why heavily supported kids from incredibly wealthy or hyper-attentive families are so often paralyzed. They've consumed so much high-density energy that the pressure to return an equal amount of value is just debilitating. Meanwhile, think about a child who grew up with less of that dense, suffocating support. They don't have this massive energetic debt holding them down. Because they didn't consume a massive surplus of someone else's energy, they're free. They're unbound by those heavy expectations. They don't have to constantly look over their shoulder or worry about letting anyone down, so they can easily and quickly move forward and take real risks.
And just briefly, I want to point out that this exact same rule applies to a master and a student, or a mentor and a mentee. If a master pours their absolute soul and all their accumulated wisdom into a single student,
That student is going to start feeling an intense, suffocating pressure if they haven't figured out what to do with their life yet. The unreciprocated energy mass builds up and completely blocks their path. Honestly, it's probably why Yoda chose to live alone in a swamp. It's just way too much energetic pressure on his students otherwise.
So, the crucial point is, how do we fix this? Let's talk about creating a grand design for the world. Here is the absolute key to unlocking this whole trap. First things first, the child has to realize they cannot pay this debt back to their parents directly. You simply can't pay them back dollar for dollar or hour for hour. It just doesn't work. Instead, they need to design a grand, meaningful plan for society. They have to dedicate all that incredible energy and support they received to the greater good. By paying the energy forward to the world, you completely clear the universal ledger. Think about it. Your parents' investment wasn't really for them anyway. It was to build you up so you could go out and serve the world. And the beauty of this solution, it's immediate. You don't have to go out and achieve this massive societal goal tomorrow just to feel relief today. The simple, profound act of formulating this great design, just setting your compass toward a noble, outward-facing purpose, instantly lifts the paralyzing burden. Why? Because you are now officially in transit. You're actively on the road to repaying the universal debt. The pressure evaporates, the lethargy vanishes, and you are finally given the freedom to move forward with real power and clarity. Which leaves us with a deeply provocative thought, especially for any parents tuning in. Is your devoted support acting as wings for your child, giving them the lift they need to soar? Or has it unwittingly become a set of heavy shackles, pinning them to the ground with the sheer weight of unspoken expectations? It's a really fine line. Support them, absolutely, but guide them to pay that energy forward to the world, not back to you. I really hope this new perspective empowers both parents and children to finally break free from the cycle of burden. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep questioning the invisible forces shaping our lives.